Hello, hello, and welcome to the Best Today podcast. First of all, I don't know about y'all, but I listen to the intro every single time I record this podcast, and it gets me so hyped. If you're fast forwarded, man, go back and live your best life and get your dance on. I mean, like I'm doing it right here. Y'all don't even see my little two-step here at my desk. I just love that intro. Clearly, I chose it. But anyway, hi. I'm over here just so hype off the intro that I listen to every single time. Welcome to the Best Today podcast. Again, I am your host, Shantae Grant. I am the creator of the Best Today company, the Best Today brand, where we provide you with resources to be proactive and intentional with your time through purposeful planning and realistic routine. We believe that being proactive and intentional with your time really does help you to be your best one today at a time. And the very best place to start is with planning and routine that connects to who you are and what you want. And so if you're new here, welcome. I want to be very clear on what we do. It is very deep, but it's very narrow. Does that make sense? Like we do what we do. The depth of it is unending, but it's just a few specific areas that we focus on, but it has huge, tremendous impact on your life. And if you are a faithful listener who's listening from week to week, thank you for being a faithful Best Today podcast listener. I am grateful for you. We create this content. We do all this work behind the scenes for you. So let's get to that content, shall we? Today we are going to talk about summer routines. And hold on, even if you're listening to this and it's way before or way after summer, I want you to keep listening because the principles apply 365 days of the year. But for those of you who are listening in real time, this episode is coming out on the very last day of May in 2021. And many of us are starting to feel summer creep into our lives, right? If you have children, they're likely done with school or heading into their final days of the school year. Your weather is getting warmer and just the buzz of summer is in your ear. And listen, I understand that for many of you, summertime does not mean anything different as it relates to your schedule or your calendar. You do the same thing regardless of the season. But we are all affected by the changes in season, and we all ebb and flow with the seasons as they enter and exit our lives. Whether you realize it or not, the seasons can affect our mood. It affects what we're going to wear. It may affect how much time or how little time we spend outside or inside, traditions. So the seasons do affect us, even if your calendar or your schedule remains the same in the summertime. So here is why I wanted to talk about summer and routine together, because for many people, and maybe including you, many believe that summer is a time to break from routine, right? Like, oh, summer's here. Oh, it's like that feeling of like taking your bra off at the end of the day. You're like, oh, summer's here. I can take this thing off. I can stop wearing it, right? Or, a 2021, taking your mask off when you get in the car. It's like, relief, right? But I don't want you to think about routine like a mask or a bra, right? That's not in my notes. If you were wondering, that just came to my mind. And one part of really making sure, one of my missions or one of my, I guess, mission, we'll go with mission, is to help people to truly understand routine. Because if you look at summer as a chance to break free of routine, or if you look at, summertime is, like I said, that bra or that mask, you finally get to take it off before you have to strap it back on in the fall. That reflects a misunderstanding about what routine is. So first, make sure you've listened to episodes 9 through 12, where I did some deep diving into what routine is, fears behind routine, benefits of routine, and some misperceptions and misunderstandings about routine. So if for some reason you found 13 first and you haven't heard 9 through 12, I really want to encourage you to make space and time to listen to those episodes because they're foundational to this episode. In fact, you may want to stop listening to this one and go back and listen to them in order because they are created and curate it for Routine Palooza. And so they go in an order that will really help you because, routine isn't something that we like throw off like a bra or throw off like a mask. And then we're like, whoo, I get a break from that thing until I have to strap it back on, right? I want you to understand that routine is the thing that aids us in doing the things that we want to do in our lives. So many of you equate summer with relaxing, vacation, freedom. I know when I was a student, that's what it meant for me as far travel. And I want to tell you a little secret. Routine makes all of those things easier, more enjoyable, and possible. Relaxing, vacation, freedom, travel, hosting friends, right? So I want to talk to you today about just some potential summer routines that might be helpful to implement in your world. Now, remember, routines can be as unique and individualized as you are. With each of the routines that I'm going to talk about and then I'm going to share today, 1,000 different women could implement that same routine 1,000 different ways and build a completely different taco with each of these routines. And if you don't know what I mean when I say taco, TACO, that's the method. The taco method is what I teach inside of our online program, Right Now Routine. All right, this is the method that I teach you to create sustainable, realistic routines that work for your life right where you are right now. Right? I have never met a person, and I've worked with literal thousands of women. I've never met one where routine was not something that she needed in her life and that was possible. And I've met people with very, very challenging circumstances and very challenging seasons. And so I'm going to tell you, wherever you are, routine, you need some. And I think you know that because you're listening to me right now, right? So the taco method has been proven and tested by women from all walks of life, all stages of life, all across the globe. And you can learn this method by going to rightnowroutine.com or visiting today's show notes, which are going to be at besttodayguide.com/13, where we have all the reference links available for you in one place. It makes it easy. You can listen to this episode at besttodayguide.com/13, but we also include everything I mention and reference will be linked there in one place for you. So back to my point. There are just so many ways to implement one type of routine, right? Hence, morning routine, one that you've probably heard about many times. There are millions of different types and iterations of a morning routine. So as I begin to share some of these, I say that to mean how this looks for you and your family and your life varies. Maybe it even varies within your family. It's like, well, this is how it looks sometimes. This is how it looks some days. This is how it looks some days of the week. This is how it looks other days of the week. This is how it looks during the summer. This is how it looks in the fall. So keep that in mind. Routine is not a one size thing where everyone has to wear it the same way, essentially, is what I'm saying. So these are going to be just some ideas that may be helpful to you as you begin to think about any additional or new routines you want to add to your life or tweaks to current routines that you already have. Ideas for summer routines that can help to bring peace in your home, in your life, and really help with the flow of your days and time and allow you to do what you love and what matters most to you. That's what I love so much about routine. You create them and then you live your life and let them do their work because the routines do the work for you. You're not a slave to your routine. Very, very important. So let's talk about some of these routines that I think are fantastic for summer that you may want to consider as we enter into summer, or these may be helpful for many of you at any time of the year. Let's talk about them. At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
I love the Best Today Guide. It's changed my life. I run my own business and I find that a couple of things, especially the morning routine, getting into that. I get up in the morning and I get so much more done now and it feels stress-free. But there's other things that I like about it that really keep me thinking positive, and that, such as a section that says, what does my best look like today? That really helps me get focused on positive. And then like having the section where you can write in your physical health today and your mental and emotional health. So thank you very much. It's changed my life.
I'm going to tell you, the first time I heard this message that was left for us, I could not stop smiling. You hear the joy, the energy in her voice. So thank you so much, Marcia, for sharing with us how much you love the Best Today Guide, how our products and resources are helping you, and how they've quite literally changed your life. But here's the thing I always say, our products, our resources, they don't change your life. You do the changing. We just give you the tools so that you know how to do that. And so thank you so much again for sending that message that just, I think even if you are listening, you're glowing. If you'd like to learn more about the Best Today Guide, you can go to besttodayguide.com. Not only will you find information and be able to see inside of the Best Today Guide, but you'll see information also about all of our programs, Right Now Routine, the Best Today Guide, Clean One Room, and what we have to offer to help you be proactive and intentional with your time. Thanks again, Marcia. I just have the biggest smile on my face. So let's talk about travel. A lot of you travel more in the summer, particularly those of you who have children, and also just because it's nicer outside and more spaces. And again, I live in the United States of America, so this may be a little different for you depending on when your summer falls, but travel. So you could think of, here's a routine we have that we do every time before we travel. So a before traveling routine. Every time before we leave the house, these are the things that we do to set ourselves up so that when we come home, we're not like, ooh, what did we leave? What? Why? Right? Or just think of it this way. Because I always say that routines help to solve problems. Think about a trip you've taken, and then you come home, you open the door. Of course, you have all the stuff, right? What do you wish was set before you when you got back home? Or what are the things you always complain about when you return home from traveling? How can you create a routine that takes care of that, that addresses that before you even leave? So if you come back and you're like, oh, I forgot that I ain't even washed the dishes in this sink, and there's like a hard crust on this plate, you know what? Let's just throw away the plate, because that crust's not coming off, right? So if that's one of the things that affects you, or you realize when you come back home, you left the kitchen in a disarray or any space, perhaps tidying up, clearing the countertops, putting all the dishes away, leaving the sink empty, making sure your bed is made and has clean linens, because, oh my gosh, how nice would it be to come home? You probably just came from sleeping somewhere that had beautiful linens, clean linens, and come straight in and say, so right before we travel, we always wash the sheets and put clean linens on so that we can take a hot shower and crawl into clean, fresh sheets. How nice would that be? And it doesn't have to be a long list of things. Pick the thing that's the most important to you. So maybe you don't care if you come home and your kitchen's a mess, but you do care about getting in fresh sheets, or you don't care about getting in fresh sheets, but you don't want, the clutter. Pick the things that matter to you. But what type of before we travel routine can you create and say every time before we travel, whether we're going to travel for 2 days or 2 weeks, we always do this. These are the things we do to set up before we leave. And again, you can build that out using the taco method, because creating a routine is more than saying, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and calling it a day. That is one small part. That is a quarter of what it takes to build a routine that lasts. There are other components as well. And again, you can learn about how to set that up and learn the taco method in the only place where I teach it, which is rightnowroutine.com. But can you think of the things that you can do to set yourself up or set your family up for what will greet you when you get back home? And that might not even just be in your home. It's like, are there things you do at work before you travel? Are there things you do in your car? Or are there things you let your neighbor know? We always make sure we tell our neighbor, give our neighbor the key. Whatever that looks like, schedule cleaning to come in the day before we leave. Like, what are the things you do to prepare yourself for travel? And then on the other side of that is a routine for when you return from travel. When we return from travel, we always do, what are those things that you like to set up? Is that we immediately take and put the laundry in the wash and get it cleaned. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite things to do. One of the reasons I love staying at an Airbnb. I don't know if my family and I will ever stay at a hotel again. We love Airbnbs or any type of the iteration of that, not just the Airbnb brand, but We love staying in homes or condos because they have washer and dryers. And what I do is on the last day of the trip or the night before the last day is I bring our own detergent so we can use the detergent that we like. And I wash everybody's clothing, fold them up. And so when we get home, all I have to do is pull them out of the suitcase and put them right directly in the drawer. We come home with no dirty laundry, or at the most one load from like if someone showered the morning before we left. And I love that hack. So what are the things you do when you return from travel? Think of, again, because routines help us to solve problems, think about what are the things that are frustrating when you get home that you'd like to alleviate by saying, if we always do this. I know my friend Brittany from Pinch of Help, she says that her and her husband have something where he always packs and she always unpacks. So she never has to worry about packing. She just pulls it out, dump it on the bed. He folds it neatly, he packs it, and then she's in charge of unpacking. And for them, that works so that because she doesn't like packing and he doesn't like unpacking, but she doesn't mind unpacking. So it worked out well. But and it goes beyond packing and unpacking, but think of all the different things when you return from travel. Do you need to insert the thing? What do you need to do every time you return from traveling? And make that a routine that everyone knows, or if it's just you, that you are aware of. When I get back, these are the things I do to set myself up. I order groceries. One of the things I like to do is I order the groceries to be delivered right when we get back home so that we have fresh groceries. And I don't actually schedule the delivery until we're en route, because nothing is worse than having your groceries sit out and burn or freeze because you got delayed in the airport or stuck in traffic. So I try to do that more real time, or I'll let my neighbor know, groceries are coming. If for some reason we get stuck in traffic, can you pick them up? But I've never had to have her do that because I always get them delivered when I know we will be back. But that's another thing you can do. Or maybe for you, that's before we head home, we stop at the grocery store. So we make sure we have food. Or maybe one of the things you do before you travel is make sure you have food so when you get back. Or perhaps you say part of our routine is we always go out to eat here when we come back in. So we don't have to worry about food. We always eat blah at X restaurant, always get takeout here when we get back. So that we know we're going to unpack, we're going to eat our food, and there we go, right? You get to decide what that looks like, but those two routines will help your travel and make you enjoy it so much more. Because how many of you on that ride home or that flight home from traveling begin to feel a black cloud form? Because it's like, oh man, now I got to go back and do it. You can actually remove that black cloud with a lot of the things that you do to prepare yourself through routine. Next, another category of friends, right? Having people in our homes. I love having friends over, and particularly right now, we have not been able to do that in over a year because of COVID. When I think about friends visiting, I'm even more excited than I have been in the past because we've been without it for so long. We've never, in my adult life, have I gone so long without hosting friends than I have in the last year. And so think of these routines of, okay, when company leaves, this is the thing we do. We always do X, Y, or Z. Or before company arrives, this is our routine. And this could be play dates or overnight guests, whatever type of guests, whether it's play dates for your children, friends coming over, overnight guests, having those routines because we tend to have more people in and out of our homes in the summertime. Having those routines in place and everyone being aware of it, or if it's just you being aware of what that looks like, it makes you decide this one time, like, this is what I do. And so when you know someone's coming over, you don't have to sit and say, oh, what do I need to do? I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You have a routine built around that, and you do it, and it works, and it's freed your brain, and it's made the occasion pleasant because it wasn't stressful. I'm always going to do this. I'm always going to serve this. I'm always going to set up the house this way. We're always going to play this game, or we're always going to say, I'm always going to, make sure this room is straightened, or whatever that looks like for you. But two routines are, what do I always do before company arrives and after? Those are two excellent routines to build. Routines involving children. This could be its own episode. This could be its own so many things. But Gosh, there's just so many different ways you can think about it. Routines for your actual children. They have more free time if they're not, school provides some structure. You have to be at a certain place from this time to this time. And all of that's been wiped out with summertime, and particularly if they're not like in camp or something. So thinking about that is a whole thing. And I do want to say, I'm going to be sharing what we're doing, how we're breaking up our summer, how routine looks for our children. That's going to be a video that I'm recording that's exclusive to our Best Today insiders. That's our email insiders. And so if you are not an insider, you can go to besttodayguide.com/email. It's absolutely free to join. And that's going to put you on our insider list to get emails from us. And one of those emails that is just going to our insiders is me breaking down our summer routine and what that looks like and how I'm breaking out the days, because I still work and I work from home. And so here's what that's going to look like: the days that I work, the days I don't. And it's really exciting because I love routine and I love like plans and charts and things. So I'm going to show you how we geeked out, how I incorporated my daughter. My son is 2, so he doesn't really have a lot to say, but we know the things he likes, how everyone was taken into account and how we created that. I'm going to be going through all of that. So if that interests you, make sure you go to besttodayguide.com/email. And when that email goes out, you will receive it. But you can think about routines around screen time, screen time routines, so that everyone's on the same page. If they know this is when you're going to have it, this is when you're not, you don't have that, can I have my iPad, or can I go watch TV? Can I see your phone? You don't have to worry about that because everyone's now on the same page. One of the many things I love about routine, and everyone understands, this from this time to this time, or on this day of the week, or whenever, when this thing happens, or after this thing happens, or before this thing happens, however it works, these are our parameters for screen time. So creating screen time routines. For those of you who like to kind of just be a little bit more free flowy, you can let meals be the anchor in your days. We do that very often here. Well, every day here, even on the weekends. The meals are the anchor, like where it's kind of like free. We're going to do a little bit of who knows what, but the meals bring us all back and help us be aware of what part of the day we're in: breakfast, lunch, dinner. So let meals be your anchor if the days are more free, and you can build those mealtime routines. Here's our breakfast routine, or our lunch routine, or our dinner routine. And really, if nothing changes for you, like I said, I understand a lot of you, your routines don't change, or your schedule and your calendar doesn't change, but your children's change because they're out of school. Where can you build in time for connection because they're more like around? So you can think of like in the mornings, can we have a, before work routine? We'll go where we go for a walk, especially before it gets too hot, or after work routine that might look different than in this during the school year because perhaps they can stay up later. Where are areas where you can use this as a time to connect in a deeper way, in more meaningful way? Not more meaningful because clearly we want to connect in meaningful ways with our people 365 days of the year, but in a way that you maybe aren't able to during the school year because you have bedtimes that have to be this time so they can get up at this time to be in school at this time. Where are those places you can build in those kind of fun routines? It can be day of the week routines, right? For us, which I'm going to talk about in the video, Tuesdays are our adventure days during the summer. So they know on Tuesdays, that's when we're going to either go out and do something, or there's something I have planned for us to do at the house. But Tuesdays are our adventure days. And then so we have a routine that works on Tuesdays. We have a routine for Monday and Friday, and then we have a routine for Wednesday and Thursday. That's how it's broken down in our home. And again, I'll show you how and why in the video. But where can you create routines for based on the day of the week? So maybe you're off on Fridays. So Fridays, you guys can have a special routine for that day of the week. There again, like I said, the opportunities are endless with when it comes to talking about routine involving our children, especially in the summertime. But those are just a few to start getting your mind thinking about what that could look like. Another area is your home. Room reset routines, which I use these all the time, but during the summer with people at home more, this may become even more important. Room reset routines. I teach you about this in Clean One Room. At the end of the day, you can have like a room reset routine. I teach you how you can make this doable in 10 minutes or less in Clean One Room, and we'll link to that in the show notes as well at besttodayguide.com/13. But you can learn more about Clean One Room at cleanoneroom.com. We make things simple around here. An evening routine to wind down, for the evening, because it's summertime, maybe everyone is so like, and we don't ever have to go to sleep. And it's like, actually you do. So an evening routine that kind of brings everybody back down, winding down. Again, those are really important for us 365, but when it's light outside around bedtime, I really need them more here because children are like, it's light outside, we should still be turning up. And I'm like, nope, it's actually time for the turn down. Rest routines. Oh, where are areas that you can inject more rest in your days or your weeks? I think because summertime gets people thinking about all the things to go and do, we sometimes may forget about rest. And so what does rest look like for you? It looks differently for all of us, but where can you inject some resting routine? Some places where you create space and say, this is a protected space for rest. And again, rest isn't just laying down and closing your eyes. Rest looks so differently for different people. There are some things that you do that you think are rest that I would be like, I don't want to do that ever. No. Some people, rest might be fly fishing. I don't know. Or whatever it might be. For some people, rest might actually feel like a hike by themselves in the woods. Rest, you get to define, right? Basically, is the point. But where are the areas where you're going to inject more of that in your days or weeks? And I'll be talking more about that in some upcoming episodes. And once those air, we will link them in the show notes as well here at besttodayguide.com/13. So if you're listening to this well into the future, those may already be linked at besttodayguide.com/13. But as I talk more about those episodes, we'll link them back here as well for you. So those are just a few, talking about rest, home, children, friends, travel, things that really matter over the summer, some areas that you can start thinking about routine. You can always go back, rewind, and listen to those suggestions again, but they touched on travel, routines, friends, having friends in your home, routines around your children, routines around your home, routines around rest, right? And again, these are just some of the many suggestions, in addition to the many that may also work for you year round that you already have incorporated in your day-to-day. Remember that you can take your routines that you currently have and just tweak them to meet the season of life or season of the year that you're in. Your routines only work. I'm going to slow down here because I don't want this part to get missed. Your routines only work when they aid your life and work for you. So if you have a routine that is draining you, that it feels like pulling teeth, that is just dreadful, I need you to stop because you're just doing something for the sake of doing something, and that's not helpful. Your routines, even if it's something you don't enjoy because it's not your favorite thing, but it's something that needs to be done. I'm not talking about that, but because even those things, you can see how they are aiding you, whether it's getting it out of the way so you can get to the things you want or doing the things that you have to do. But your routines only work for you when they aid your life and they work for you. You don't work for them. Okay. So my hope is that this episode has planted a seed that you will continue to water, or maybe this episode is that water for you, but continue to water that seed through more of our content and our trainings, like Right Now Routine, using the Best Today Guide, signing up for Clean One Room, continue to listen to this podcast, our YouTube channel, so that you will grow to understand and appreciate how routine can help you be proactive and intentional with your time, how routine gives you energy and space for the things that connect with who you are and what you want. And again, if you're new to Best Today, I always recommend the first episode 1, because it just explains a little bit more about what we mean by Best Today and how we are ever evolving. But at the top of this podcast, I shared with you like who we are and what we really are in the business of doing. So thank you for listening and welcome. And again, to our faithful listeners, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you need one thing, right? After listening to this episode, here is your one thing to do. Go to besttodayguide.com/13. And those are the show notes for today's episode, and choose the resource that you need. If it's to learn the taco, so you can create realistic routines that work for your life, do that. And that's linked there. Right Now Routine is linked right there on the show notes. If it's catching up on previous episodes, what I've done for you is we've linked every routine related episode in the show notes. You can just click there and you'll just have a list of episodes that have talked about routine, if you want to kind of catch up on those. And anything else that I've mentioned in today's podcast can be found at besttodayguide.com/13. I am so honored, so honored that you have shared your valuable time and attention with me for this episode of the Best Today podcast. So again, I say thank you. I am grateful for you. I create for you. And so until next time, I need you to remember that you are capable and you are worthy of being your best one today at a time, and that you have everything that you need to have everything that you want. So, as I always like to say on this podcast, go on. You have permission right now to shout it out as you continue to live it out, that this is what my best today looks like. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today Guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today, and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.